Another group of athletes is headed to the CrossFit Games. Thanks for joining us for our daily semifinal recap show. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil. Sergio Sanchez, he joins us on our final day recapping Copa Sur, and what a way to finish. Emotions were high. The atmosphere, what was it like being there? Because I'm watching at home on the live stream and I'm getting goosebumps.
I mean, it was insane, literally insane, because the entire arena was just screaming their names and cheering for them. And I mean, we got like four individuals from Brazil, one team. Most of the people there were from Brazil. So, I mean, it. I was crying literally sometimes after that. Before the announcement, I was crying. I got a chance to give the announcement to to some of the athletes, and I mean, seeing their emotions and seeing their dream come true, it was just so incredible. This is my voice now. This is how much
From all
I
the yelling and
screamed there.
screaming. But that's what we want to see on the final day of a semifinal is the fans and everybody really getting into it. For people who don't know yet, if they haven't taken a look at the leaderboard, Guy Malheiros, number one on the men's side, Pedro Martinez. Let's first kind of just talk about those two athletes. When we listened to Guy, he also gave a speech in English for people like me at home. And it was just so cool to hear him say it's great to be back in Brazil. His family, his girlfriend, his granny, everybody there was really supporting him. What was it like to see him qualify again for the CrossFit Games?
Well, it was amazing. I mean, he's evolved a lot as an athlete, and he's matured a lot in this recent years. And seeing that, for instance, he won the event, it was not supposed for him to win. And then when he said, I came here to win everything, and when I saw that that was impossible, that was messing up with my head, I said, you know what, I just want to win the competition. He didn't have a great last event. I mean, far from it. I believe he was very disappointed at it. But I mean, he was smart enough to focus and do what he had to do to win the entire competition. And I think that proves he's evolving and he's getting more mature. And we're going to hear a lot more from him in years to come.
Absolutely. And one of those big things is really working on your mindset. And I think that working with the Mayhem crew, he's in a great spot to set him up for success and not let that deter him from knowing exactly what the goal is and just to get that ticket to the CrossFit Games, and he won the entire event.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I think he's going to get every year, he's going to get closer and closer to the podium. Even I believe this year, we're going to see some great things from him for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how good he's gotten over the year, because we've been watching, we've been keeping an eye on him. But somebody else who we've been watching and talking about all weekend long, Pedro Martins. He qualifies for the CrossFit Games. And that place was electric. All of like the competitors that were right next to him, huddling around, jumping up and down, screaming his name. That was something that, as a fan, as an athlete, I've never seen such a hype for someone.
You know, Pedro is like the nicest guy there is. And he's so humble. And I mean, really, there is no other way to say this, how much I love that guy. I was crying when I saw that he got the spot for the games. Before he knew it, I was already crying because I knew he had to go through two elimination rounds to get the final spot, to the second spot. And when he did, I started crying. He was doing like the third round. I was crying. And all the athletes were like cheering him up so much. And they were screaming for him. And everyone loves him. He's such a wonderful guy, such a wonderful, and he's a physician, and he stopped working as a doctor, so he can focus on accomplishing his dream that was going to the games. And the fact that he did that this year, I mean, when I talked to him, I was right at a media pit, and I said, Pedro, what? He said, what? You're going to the games. You're going to the games. Really? I don't know. I'm gonna
Oh
have
my
to
gosh.
wait. He
Oh,
was skeptical about it, and he still is. Said, things I have not yet clicked to the gates.
Incredible to see that finally happen for him. On the women's side, Victoria Campos, Julia Katko, both at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the weekend. But there were so many shakeups. They weren't at the top the entire time. They had to fight for those spots.
Yeah, Victoria Campos, she came today in second. After the first event, she was right or in first. I can remember precisely the leaderboard this morning. But I mean,
Yeah, she
as I
got
told yesterday,
Julia Katko got first. Or I'm sorry, she got first on the first part of the last workout.
yeah, but well, I know. But Andrea Pinheiro was on the top of the leaderboard, if I'm not mistaken, tied with Victoria Campos for the first place
Yes.
this morning. And Andrea Pinheiro, she's a bigger athlete, so we knew that ring muscle ups was not her strongest part. And then that's when she started to drop on the leaderboard. And Victoria Campos did great. And going to the final event, Julia Cato was in fourth place, and Claudia Espinosa from Ecuador was in second, and Amanda Fuzuma in third. So it's the elimination rounds, right? So every round, two athletes who got eliminated, and so Claudia Espinosa was the first one to get out. She was in second place. Then Amanda Fuzuma was the other one to get out. I mean, I was cheering for her so much, but she got out. And then it went Julia Cato. And Julia Cato went all the way and finished in second in the last event. And I talked to her, and she was smiling after like the third or fourth elimination round. She was exhausted, but she was smiling. So in my head, I was thinking, well, she knows she's going to the games. So when the event ended, I went to her again, and I was not recording. I started recording later, but I went to her again and said, Julia, when did you know, in which round you knew you were going to the games? She said, I'm going to the games. And she started crying. And she fell on the floor and I didn't know I was the one who was giving her that. We're going to the game. She started crying so much. And I started crying with her also again. I mean,
right.
I
So
cried
many
a lot.
emotions. Well, and especially only having 2 tickets on the line for the CrossFit Games, there's just so much that's at stake for these athletes and these competitors. And to see their dreams finally come true in real time, I'm sure was incredible, Sergio.
Yeah, it was amazing. I will never get tired of it.
And who else is going to the games? On the team side, we have Q21 CrossFit and CrossFit Riviere, Preto. Q21, they basically ran away for it. But that second spot, that was really a battle all weekend long, really up until like the last event today.
Yeah, it was. It was an open field. I mean, any team could get there, right? And I was talking to Team Ribeirão because on the first article that I wrote about Copa Sur and the teams, I did include them as one of my favorites because I didn't have the events yet. Only
sure.
the teams
that
that
makes
qualified.
A big difference.
That makes a big difference. When the events came out, and then I included Ribeirão as one of my favorites, even though they did not qualify at the top. I mean, since they are our national champion, TCB is considered the national championship for CrossFit in Brazil. And they work a lot with anacondas and synchronization. So when I saw the event, I said, Ribeirão is going to do great because they won already TCB. They have a history of great teams there. So then I included Ribeirão in the second article. They were mad at me, but then I said, yeah, but I'm putting you here. And I was expecting Team Treta also to do well. And I mean, only one of their teammates, Team Treta, that came in third, only one, Tata Rebana, she was the only one that actually knew how to swim. And they came in at last place in the swim, and they finalized the event in third. And they were the last one to qualify. So for me, I mean, seeing all this, and I was so happy for Team Ribeirão and so happy for Q21. I mean, they're showing greatness, and they're going to do much better at the games this year. And I mean, it was very exciting to see the team competition, especially because I was making calculations the entire time. Oh, if the second place, and when I knew that it was finishing there, that was amazing.
Yeah, and if we even look at the teams, because that side of the leaderboard is finalized at this point, today's first event, it really was all about that teamwork with these teams. They had the Anaconda, and then the final event had the synchro movements. Was it the deal breaker for some of these teams that were right on the cusp on how they work together with the other athletes, whether they're going to the games or not?
Yes, totally. I mean, BXP that finished in seventh place overall, I believe. I don't know, but
Yep.
BXP, yeah, BXP was in second place, and prior to this event, but they decided to become a team in the quarterfinals. I mean, 2 days
Wow.
before the quarterfinals, they have never done a synchronized torso bar or synchronized chest bar, and they have never worked with a worm or an anaconda. So, I mean, they suffered a lot in this event, and that's what cost them a good placement and probably the games spots, right? So now I talked to them and I talked to their coach and said, now we are a team. We know what we can do, and we're going to improve on that. And look out for us next year. And well, I think we should.
When we look at the teams on the leaderboard overall, I mean, Q21, they really just ran away with it. But that battle was between Preto, Team Treta, and Paraguay. How are these teams affected by the synchro of the ring muscle ups versus the synchro of the handstand walks today? Like, which movement from seeing it on the floor do you think was the bigger separator?
I mean, Ribeirão almost lost the spot. Almost, this is kind of a push because they still have a 20-point lead, but they started going really behind because of the ring muscle ups for the women. So I believe they're going to have to work a lot on the ring muscle ups. And on Team Treta, I mean, they have this, even though Tata Rebani is a heavy athlete and she struggles more on ring muscle ups, they got a second place because they practiced together and the synchronization and everything was well rounded up. And they didn't get no reps. And when I talked to them to get the third spot, she said, we're focusing on not getting no reps. And that, I believe, what made the difference in these teams is because Ribeirão and Team Treta was focusing on not getting no reps and working well in the anaconda and in the ring muscle ups. But I believe the separator was the ring muscle ups.
Moving into the women's field, kind of looking at their events today, Constanza Cabrera, Valentina Rangel, and Melina Rodriguez, all three of these athletes, they really pushed that pace on event 5 because this one, it was really all about timing and how fast you could come out at the end of that. But was this performance from Rodriguez, like all along through the weekend, surprising to you going into this? I mean, I know here in the States, she was a favorite.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. Yes, I was expecting so much more of Melina Rodriguez, so much more. She was actually my pick. When I wrote 2 articles about Copa Sur, and on both it said the favorite is Melina. And I think that what happened to her at the regional event 5, and I talked to the organization, and they revealed everything, and she was not correctly touching the bar on the first no reps she got. And I believe
Yeah,
that
with the rope
24th
climbs,
place,
right?
yeah, with the rope
Yep.
climbs, and I think that 24th place did any good for her for the next event. I mean, she tried everything on the event, the first event this morning. She went with everything, but she still didn't place well. She got 9th on the last one standing. So it's too bad. I was expecting her to do better, but I think next year she's gonna come back hungry if the team situation is resolved, right? Because she was going team, and then her team was disqualified because
Right.
they was not training at the same gym, and then she decided to go individual. I don't know if she's gonna go team or not, but either way, we're gonna have to wait and see her decision and expect again great things from her. She's an amazing athlete, and I'm sure she'll get better and improve and do much better next year.
That final event 6 for both the men and women, the elimination style, we haven't seen this at any other semifinal. What was it like watching it play out on the field and seeing people either advance or get cut?
I mean, Brazil CrossFit Championship, which was a sanctioned event in 2019 and 2020, did that, and it was then it was incredible, and we could. I mean, right then we saw, wow, this is amazing, and I think they decided let's keep this format because this format is, I mean, out of the question, one of the most amazing ways to end the competition because and it has to be a fast event because it's so close, so close. You
Yeah.
have to review the videos and then just know which one leaves the competition. And I mean, in the when you're there inside, you're seeing this. I mean, I was nervous the entire time, the entire time.
It was crazy. I mean, watching at home and people were just moving so fast and the way they were walking on their hands, it was almost about like who could kick their feet down and then like dive across the finish line.
And that's the problem because when you have such a fast event, if you make any mistakes, it can
Hmm.
cost you a lot. And Guilherme Malheiros unfortunately didn't went to the final 10 because he got two no reps because his hand was going outside. He was going like walking to the side, and his hand was going outside, and he got two no reps, and
Uh,
that cost him a spot in the final. So that was a bit of anticlimax for the crowd. The crowd wanted Malheiros there, but I mean, you have to be perfect,
yeah,
perfect.
you do. You have to be perfect. Going back to event 5 for the men's side, we did see quite the race between Guy. He was just 1 second behind Augustine Guenzu and then Augustine Richelme. Just 1 second that separated these guys. What was that race like to see play out?
I mean, Malheiros and Augustin Riquelme. Riquelme was in front of Malheiros for practically the entire event. Only on the final 20 thrusters that Malheiros decided to really put metal to the pedal, and he went all the way for it to win his heat because Augustin Guinazzo was in a previous heat, right? So he didn't know precisely his time, but he wanted to beat Riquelme, and Riquelme was going, and then when Malheiros crossed the finish line, he just says that, no, not here, not here. And
Wow.
it was like a couple of seconds before Riquelme. It was the crowd went insane, insane. I mean, Malheiros really knows how to work the crowd. That's something that
Yeah.
everybody is impressed by him. I mean, he knows how to work the crowd and get everyone on his feet.
He knew
He's a
how to
showman.
in
He's a
Brazil, and
showman.
he knows how to in Madison. We're excited to see him back there. Sergio is somebody who has been watching this competition so closely this entire weekend. You've been on the floor for the final 2 days. What was your biggest takeaway from seeing these competitors throw it down to hopefully punch their ticket to Madison?
I mean, seeing someone like Julia Cato, seeing someone like Pedro Martins abdicating their lives to pursuing their dreams and seeing, you know what, this is possible. I followed Team Ribeirão in the national championship and seeing them getting there. I know that we have our favorites, right? Guilherme was a favorite. Vitória was a favorite. Q21 was a favorite. But when you see the motion of the athletes that they were not the favorites, like Pedro Martins or Team Ribeirão Preto, and when you see them getting there and abdicating their lives to go there and see, well, it's a tough life for them to have to abdicate everything to follow their dreams. It's a hard dream to get, and when you see them there and their emotions is overwhelming. I mean, I wanted to go there and I want to quit also and become an athlete. No, I actually
Me
don't.
too.
I actually don't. I, there was one day I was vacationing from the university, and I went to train with Anita Pravati. At the time, she was a four-time Brazilian champion and now two-time Games athlete since she's qualified for the Master. And I spent a month training with her, doing her training,
Oh,
of course,
wow.
adapting, scaling.
Yep.
And I wrote an article as my life as an athlete, and I said, "Well, congratulations for you. I'm not cut out for this. I cannot do that
We're better on this side talking about the sport.
for sure, for
Well,
sure."
Sergio Sanchez, this has been so much fun. Thank you for recapping the journey in Copa Sur, giving us all the highlights and everything that we need to know these athletes more. And now we'll see a couple more of them back in Madison.